ST, what is going on? Today I'm going to be interviewing Christian. He's an absolute legend. I'm going to wait for him to swing on in and then I'm going to give him a nice little cheeky intro. But how are you all doing? How are we all doing? You'll notice that I'm going to be doing a lot more of these in the future. So the idea is for me to, hey Shanice, what's up? Is for me to do more of these videos. You see, the whole purpose of this is to be omnipresent, which means to be on all different platforms. Oswald's going to be barking throughout the duration, so I'm kind of hoping that Laura will sort me out, hopefully. Do you want to have something barking, baby? Would that be okay? Sweet, okay, cool. So, Christian is on board. Let me get him on the scene. I've had no request to join. Christian, request me, bro. Request to join. I can't seem to get you on. What is going on? Oh, hang on. Oh, yes. It is happening. Here it is. 3, 2, 1. Boom! I always do this. I do it too early. I get excited and I do it too early. Here's my man. Hey, dude.
Yo, what's going on, bro? Can you hear me?
How's it going, my brother? Yeah, I've got you, man. I've got you. It's a bit blurry. I don't know if that's my connection or you. He's in a car. Probably that. Can you guys? I hope you guys can hear me properly. Megan, can you hear me? Oh, True's on board. Hey, True. Yeah, I got you. I got my man. Cool. So, hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Young Life Warrior podcast. Today we have got the amazing, the incredible Christian, who was a member of Flawless, who appeared in Britain's Got Talent in 2009. He owns the Cass Talent Agency, all-round legend, amazing dancer, and very strong at handshaking. I met him at Hyde Park in London. Seriously, he knows how to squeeze a fist. It's good. It's a good character alpha trait, bro. How are you?
I'm good, bro. Sorry, just dashed out the gym, so that's why I'm in my car.
Nice, dude. Today it was back and biceps for me, mate. What was it for you?
I was back.
You're back as well.
It was back day for me. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to say anything.
It's my Tuesday. It's my Tuesday's routine. Just come back from the gym door.
Tuesday routine. Mate, I got you. Yeah, Tuesday routine. That's the same. Yeah. So I like to train one muscle group twice a week. It's not so much split. It's a bit more because I felt like when I was splitting, I wasn't getting the gains that I wanted. So I thought, give myself a bit of rest. Oh, Lucien's on board. Hey, Lucien. Give myself a bit more rest, bit of recuperation, but then attack it around about 4 or 5 days later. I don't know if you do the same.
Yeah, mine's legs twice a week. I need to grow these ankles. Sweet, dude. So, mate, it's awesome to see you. I only get to hear your beautiful dulcet tones on the old clubhouse now and again, but I get to see your face, your fresh out the gym face. Yeah, fresh. Oh, I don't know if fresh is the word right now, mate.
Yeah, well, mate. As you know, you know what I do. You know, I'm all about the kids. You know, I want to give everything I possibly can, but I want to get it from different dimensions. So, a few days ago, I interviewed the number 2 most inspirational Black woman in the whole of the UK. I don't know how she's number 2. In my eyes, she should be number 1. She is absolutely incredible, and the bombs that she delivered were absolutely amazing. So, if I can get help or advice from different perspectives, different viewpoints of life, and that's going to help a kid that I can't help a kid because I've never experienced that, then I'm winning. Because it might be better from your lips, and it might be better from my lips for your audience. Who knows? But the thing is, as long as we're all in this together and we're all actually being the right role models to help kids flourish on this planet, I think we're winning, bro. So, mate, I'm happy to continue. Lucien just said muscle chat. That's right, Lucien. Yeah, hench chat, actually.
Muscle chat. That's not a bad title for a room or a podcast, in fact. So, Lucien, we might take that. Thanks.
Yeah. Lucien, see what I mean? Lucien's just delivering the gold. See what? Yeah. It's just different viewpoints, man. That's what it is. Muscle chat.
Takes off, we might give you a cut. So, yeah.
Mate, to be fair, Lucien is a baller. She'll come on and she'll take her cut. She'll just come in and attack us.
Oscar, like,
here's my invoice. There you go. Snap.
Yeah, that's what it is, dude. But dude, what I wanted to do was,
Yeah.
if this is cool with you, I just wanted to speak a little bit about, obviously this month is Black History Month, and I watched something really, really eye-opening for me from one of my role models that I one day I hope to meet, but you know the chances are pretty slim. But that's probably limited thinking. Morgan Freeman hates
Mm.
Black History Month. He said, I don't know if you've seen the video. If you haven't, I'm going to send it to you. But
Yeah.
he said, why is there a white history month? Is there a Jewish history month? No, there's not. So why does it need that focus? Racism will stop when we stop talking about it. And I was like,
Mm.
what do you think about that, dude?
Like that statement um is very, very, it's provocative in a way
Yeah,
that it provokes thought, but at the same time it will provoke serious dialogue. I mean, there are loads of people that will agree with him, and a lot would completely disagree with him, because then it's almost like, all right, so are you sweeping this under the carpet and just hoping that the dust will evaporate? You know, you can look at it from that perspective. I think the problem with the problem with racism, even having the conversation in itself, is people don't like to be uncomfortable. They don't want to be in a situation that's like feel a little bit shifty. It's like, oh, you know, we might have to tread carefully, especially in this culture, in this culture, this cancel culture era that we're living in. A lot of people are afraid to say something in case they offend, in case they say something wrong that upsets somebody, like somebody will like take it to heart, and all of a sudden it just completely kicks off, and next thing you know, they're being cancelled. But one of my main issues is no one really wants to get to the core, like and tackle the real issue at the hand. Is recognizing first and foremost that yes, it does exist. Like, don't turn a blind eye, like to say it. Just because you haven't lived that experience, it doesn't mean other people aren't going through certain things. You know, I don't know what it means to be white. I don't have a white experience. I don't know what you've experienced in your life. I can only listen to your story and listen to your journey and try to understand and empathize, right? Same way with me as a black man. Like, you know, I've had my trials and tribulations. My black experience is completely different to somebody who's living in the States, for example. A black man in the States has a different black experience. A black man in Africa has a different black experience. A black man in Asia has a different black experience. We all may experience similar things, but ours is completely different. Some is going to be completely, you know, more extreme than others. You know, some black people, for example, in a different part of the world, will look at me as somebody who's privileged. You know, because their struggles is really dire in comparison to mine. And I think one of the main issues is people don't see it that way. From, let's say, even white people don't see it from that perspective. You know, so I think it's acknowledging that the experiences are completely, and there are you know, stereotypes, there are prejudices, and there are racism that others experience, but turning a blind eye to it or sweeping it under the carpet is not going to make it go away. That's just my opinion. Like, acknowledging what
mm.
has happened and then trying to have a solution-based mentality. That's for me. It's like, okay, we know what's going on. How do we progress as a human race and get out of these dark ages, or these, like, you know, dark times that we've experienced and continue to experience? Are we going to just continue to allow this cycle to affect us, affect our children, our children's children, and continuously just like let this, you know, insane cycle continue? But you know, I could really, really go on this subject, but I guess we're not really here to go that in depth about race. But
No,
it is very,
yeah, no, dude, I you still there, mate? Oh, you're still there, yeah. I appreciate your vulnerability
yeah,
and honesty, dude. I think that's really powerful. What the idea of this, I really want to help the youth of whatever kind of color skin, I guess, understand. I want people to understand and respect every single person's model of the world, every single person's history that they've had to go through, because it's almost as if what I've seen recently is that you know, black people are still fighting, and it baffles me, and it's arrogant of me to say what I'm about to say, but it's just like, why are they still battling? It pisses me off. It's just like, I don't get it. I don't understand, because for me, I said I've got my friend Dan. He is amazing. He's black, and we went snowboarding together, and it just, I'll share something quite vulnerable for me, and you know, I believe 100% I'm not a racist person on any culture, religion, color, or anything like that. But what I did do, and feel free to tell me off, mate. What I did do is we went snowboarding, and there was no. We were walking along, and I've bantered with Dan. I love Dan. You know, he's bigger than me anyway, so he beats me up if he wants to. and it really put me in my space, and it really gave me a massive awareness, because I was walking along, and there was a big group. There was a group of us, like white guys, and he was the only black person, and there was another group of white guys walking along, and they had another black person. And I said, and I don't know where this came from. It's just like, oh, we've got the only black boy here. He's our man. You know, what's going on? And I was probably a little bit drunk. But then he looked at me, stopped, and looked at me and said, "Mate, I don't see colour." And I could tell he wanted to lay into me, and rightly so, because it wasn't about that. And I was just like, but what he would have said to me would have stung and would have given me a realization. But what I was
yeah,
doing to myself inside my head was far worse, thinking, what have I done? What have I said? Why didn't you say that for? It's not about that.
yeah,
But when I spoke to a few of the people that are black, they say, oh, you shouldn't say you don't see colour. I'm confused, because I say it, and then I hear someone saying, you know, you shouldn't say you don't see colour. But then I've got one of my best mates who is black that says, I don't see colour. I'm like, oh, I don't know where it's from. I just want to raise awareness of it, so there's
yeah,
no kids going through school that does this and goes through this and says what I said, and I'm over here claiming, hey, I'm not a racist or anything like that, but I don't know
yeah,
if I'm an accidental I don't know, and I'm just like, I want to do the best I can, and I don't want to be a bigot or anything. And if
yeah,
I see that on the street, I hate it. When I was a teacher, I saw some, you know, white person say the N-word, mate. I went nuts. I went absolutely ballistic, like more so than the black teachers that were there. And I don't know
yeah.
if I was just trying to prove a point or what, but I went nuts. So maybe it's just having more of awareness, mate. I don't know. What do you think about that? You're going to tell me off?
No, 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 no. Like, see, the thing with when you say, I don't see color, a lot of people will see it as well. So that don't see me. Like, you know, for a lot of black people, or people of color, um, it's not about you seeing their color; it's seeing them for who they are. And
Mm.
first and foremost, of course, when we see somebody, the first thing we're gonna see their complexion. You notice their complete. You notice the differences. Like, for example, okay, if you were to witness a crime, or if you were to witness an accident, and you had to call the police or an ambulance, and they said to you, "Can you please describe the victim?" Right? You're gonna say, "Oh, it's a young black woman in her such and such." So you see her color. You see where I'm going? Like, if you were asked to describe somebody,
Mate, I
you would
see
just
it.
based on what you see, which is their height, their color, what age range that they may be. So then saying I don't see color, it kind of like eradicates us as being what you see. You notice us. You know, we notice you, but it's not just all you see. You understand? So everybody has their own version, or everyone has their opinion on color, whether you see it or not. But in actuality, yes, you do see it. Like to say I don't see color, I think it's just a kind of a way of saying, oh, I'm not racist, I'm not a bigot, I'm not prejudiced, I'm not, I'm really, really cool. It's almost like you're trying to validate yourself. Oh, I'm an ally. When in actuality, an ally is seen as an ally back through their actions.
Yeah.
Not by what they say. You know what I mean? I don't just mean an ally to black people. I mean an ally to all. Like whether their sexual orientation, if they're part of the LGBTQ community, you're an ally to all. You know, so you don't necessarily judge people based on what they look like or their sexual preferences or whatever. You know, you see them for who they are. Yes, you see color. Don't try and say, oh, I don't see them. Some people may disagree with what I'm saying, and that's okay. But this is the whole point of having these civil discourses and these conversations, to actually get to the root of problems and find a solution that we can all move forward together. Because there's nothing worse than, for example, for a white person to feel like they don't know what to say or don't know how to be and act, and it just kind of feels uncomfortable for you, and then it makes it uncomfortable for us. It's like, okay, cool. Like, do we have to continue to try and make you feel comfortable in order for us to move forward or whatever? It's like, let's just be open to being open. Like, have that open conversation. Like, for example, you're having with me live. Like, and I'm hoping, like, there is a takeaway for anybody that's watching this. I want to be able to have an open conversation with somebody and say, just tell me exactly how you feel, what you think, and we can learn from each other. And going back to what you said as kids, like, a lot of this is learned behavior, and they're going by what they see from at home. They're going by what they see at school. They're learning from their peers because that's what they've learned from their family members or friendship groups or whatever. To a point, there is a continuous air of ignorance and not necessarily any form of growth. So then it just becomes a nation of people that aren't necessarily well educated from each other, like in all backgrounds. Like, even when I was in school, and I hated this word, and I was just like, why? But at the same time, I didn't understand why I hated it. Like, they used to refer to a lot of the mixed race boys in my school as half caste. Back then, in the 90s, that was just like a normal saying. Like, oh, they refer to, like, James or Alan or Chrissy or Christopher that was mixed race as half caste. And to this day, a lot of people still use the term, not necessarily it's a derogatory term. Like, so as kids, when you are labeled as that from an early age, you're gonna have a complex. Even though I went to a really, really like multicultural school. I went to an all-boys school though, so that was it was an experience. It was definitely an experience. But for me, as a black kid going to that school, you always had your internal struggles because there was so much. When I'm thinking about it now, like, so many of the kids were racist. They will say a lot of things, like, for example, my complexion, oh, look how black you are. Like, you're like midnight. Like, genuinely, that, like, during, in school, you're going through custom messages or whatever, and then your color is brought up. Look how black you are. You're like coal, charcoal, whatever. Well, and this is what kids are, exposed to, and it becomes their behavior. So the behaviors that they're learning from their parents or their peer or their cousins or family members, whatever, they now start projecting it. It then becomes a cycle. How are we going to eradicate this? It starts from home. It does start from home. Me personally, like when you teach your kids from right and wrong, and really, really open up the opportunity for them to speak candidly. I say this because I've had situations where kids that I taught, they open up more to me than they would with their parents. I know more about some of my students than their parents do, which is crazy. And I think the what I would suggest would be just, allowing the space for your kid to be able to feel like they can communicate with you openly and tell you everything. So then you can not only help them, but it will essentially increase the relationship that you have with your child. And that's just my opinion, going by experiences that I've had. I've given them the space and the freedom to be able to speak openly. So, okay, what is it? And ask the question. For me, one of the most powerful questions that I like to ask is, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need from me? What do you need in general? How can I help you? I can help you when you tell me what you need. And then it just opens up an open conversation there, and you never know what you unfold on a pack and then find out, and it's like, wow, okay, cool. There's a lot going on here. Maybe we can, try and start putting some steps that can help these kids. So I'm really, really going into it now, but I guess, yeah, there's still a lot of work to do, but it starts from us as the adults that are in the position that are able to help these kids. What more can we do?
Yeah, dude, I've never heard you speak like this before, and it's really enlightening for me, because the way you articulate your passion and your identity through your words is just absolutely inspirational. And I think that when you said about half caste, I use that, and the reason why I used that when I was younger was because my mum and dad used that, and it's like, yeah, exactly. Highlighting what you said, learned behavior, and it's like, if you look at a piano, I remember there was a poem ages ago in school. When you say half caste, it's like there was a poem, and looking at the piano keys, you've got the white keys and the black keys, and it's like, well, if I'm half caste, where do I belong? And that really affects a person's identity. And I think kids, I mean, this recently there's been such an explosion of neutral genderality and maybe gender confusion. I'm working with a lot of kids now, which have got huge identity issues with their sexuality. They don't know if they're sexual, asexual, pansexual, gay, bi, straight. They don't know, and they're so lost. So for all cultures in the world, or anybody, any kids that have a knock in their identity, when someone doesn't know who they are, they don't know where they belong, and essentially human beings are looking for that comfort of belonging. And when they get shoved to the side, or when they get labelled as monkey or midnight or charcoal, it's almost like, oh well, that must be me. But more than that, it frustrates me, and I will never understand, because I'm white over here, and I'm not diminishing me at all. But what I can do, and what maybe I need your guidance with this, and what I can do to, not that I'm segregating it, but white privilege or white kids, is to help them understand to respect it and not look for it, but respect it every single day and be aware, and not sympathize, because there's nothing to be sympathetic about. It's more like empower and empathize and support. That's what I think. I don't know if I'm on the right line.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. And I think there's one point that you touched on in terms of kids and their confusion. It's like, it begs the question of, why are they confused? Like, what is it that's making them confused? What is it that making them feel like they don't know who they are? And I think normalizing being different is what needs to happen, especially in these school systems or whatever. I know, like, there was a lot of pushback in terms of gender neutrality, or some people thinking, oh well, it should be like two sexes, that's it, there's a man and female, or male female, sorry, boy and a girl, man and a woman. If somebody is confused, I think it's up to us to help them find themselves, discover who they are, without judgment and without persecution, without social media completely going off and trolling people. Me personally, coming from somebody who went to a Catholic school as well, like growing up and just kind of having my own perception, I'm looking back, I'm like, hold on a minute, everything I learned in school was just completely, it's enough to confuse anyone. But then when you start to form your own opinion, have your own mind, you start to question a lot of things, so imagine if a child that went to a Catholic school like myself, that they were battling with their own sexuality. They don't know if they like boys or girls, but you're being taught that being gay is wrong. It's a sin. Now I'm opening up a whole can of worms here in this conversation, but using this as an example, right? If you've gone to a Catholic school or a Christian school, whatever, and you don't necessarily know where you fit, where you stand, or you don't even realize what it is that your sexual orientation is, but at the same time you're being taught or programmed that, oh, it's a sin to be this way. So now you start questioning yourself. Well, am I a sinner? Am I wrong for feeling this way? It just becomes a whole bigger issue to a point. It's beyond identity crisis. It becomes a mental health issue now. It becomes a mental health crisis. Because so much judgment swung around to a point. Loads of kids in this day and age, of course, with social media amplifying everything, they don't know where they stand or fit in the world. There's so much confusion within themselves, and as a result, mental health is at an all-time high. We're supposed to be an evolved species. We're evolving, but at the same time, we're not evolving.
It's like we're being locked in by, I guess, and it depends what we focus on, but social media. I believe social media can be an absolutely fantastic tool. I mean, look at this now. We're raising awareness, and we're having a meaningful conversation, but it can also be at the detriment of some people that do not know how to use it. And that's not just kids, but it's adults as well, that just solely look out for the pain and look out for the triggers. And what does the algorithm do? The big influencers that control all the social media, they send you that content so you can be locked into the system. If you're not buying anything, then you are the product. So we are the product of of social media, which is just really scary. It really is scary, dude. So mate, I want to say this. What would you? I know you've done a lot of work on yourself as well, and I mean, I've done a lot of work on myself too. I'll be really interested to find out actually what you would say your top 3 values are in your life right now. So for me, mine is impact, freedom, and fulfillment, and love. That's 4. But what would you say yours are?
For mine is integrity, respect, and compassion.
And on some level, have you always had that? And did it falter when you were younger?
Oh, absolutely. But then I had to discover it. Like for me, integrity is one of my biggest ones, because I never want to do anything or say anything or put myself or even take on an opportunity that compromises my integrity. It's one of my core values that I completely stand by, and it's non-negotiable. I never want to operate in a way that isn't respectful, or that I would look back and be like, I'm not proud of that.
Right.
Like from in the past, obviously I've done things that I haven't been proud of, which is the reason why it's like, okay, cool, let's just shift this now. You no longer can operate in the way that when you look back, you are not proud of how you operated, how you engaged with people, how you, showed yourself, how you showed up. So I always want to move in a way that is integral, respectful, and also shows compassion in other people. Because in order for that to happen, also, it's just I got to be able to listen and hear people completely. For me to show compassion and understand, as like we can understand to a degree. Like I can understand from a male's perspective, but I can't completely understand from a female's perspective. I can only try to empathize and be compassionate towards their struggle, their pain. You know, I like to try and see myself as a feminist, because from somebody who's has a lot of sisters in my family, I never want to see any of my sisters going through any form of hardship or being discriminated against because of social norms. I want to be able to help them completely battle the status quo. You know, so I can understand the female struggle. I can't say I completely understand, because I don't know what it means to be a woman.
Yeah.
But I stand by them and help them with their struggles and their battles, you know. So for me, like, those are my core values that I try to practice on a daily basis. And if I've done something that kind of like made me raise an eyebrow, I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, like, don't do that again, or don't even say it again. Like, so I know it's like, you know, we're in an age where we're constantly like trying to watch our words or whatever, but for me, words are so bigger than we actually realize. It's like you have to be mindful of what you say, because what you say can have a huge impact on somebody else.
Massively, dude. I don't know if you caught Lucienne's post. She did a big post on LinkedIn. It went viral. It's got over 800,000 likes and over 1,000 comments. It's mental, and it was all about how kind of men were dropping into her inbox saying, "Oh, you look lonely. Are you okay? Oh, hey, beautiful. What's going on?" And then she did a post on that. It went viral, rightly so. You know, you and me would definitely support it. I wrote something on there, and then she just put another post on yesterday evening. From a woman's perspective, and what I saw, this is why I think I'm just underneath a rock, because I would never do this, and I don't understand. I can't comprehend what was said next. They said, "Well, if you don't want," and then men were dropping in her inbox saying, "Well, if you don't want that attention, then you shouldn't wear that much makeup, or if you don't want all this, then you shouldn't be wearing that top." And if you raise all these points, if you're talking like this and you're sharing all these posts, then if you don't want all this feedback, then just don't post. And I was like, what? And for me, that shows completely adolescent behavior in regard to these people learned that between the imprint phase of 0 to 7, the imprint phase diagnosed by Dr. Bruce Lipton, and they never decided to grow away from that. Let's say, for example, when I was 5, I wanted that toy, and that kid had that toy. So I went up to it and said, "I want a toy," and he said no. And then I hit him, and I got the toy. Oh, wicked! I got the result, mate. Well, in my brain now, I know I'm going to. What if I want something? I need to hit someone.
Yeah.
Bang, and I could see my mum and dad do that, or whatever, you know. And you know, I would continue to do that until I'm 24. When my girlfriend wants to leave me, but I don't like it, then I start being a bit domestically violency. You know. Yeah. There's more than one way to be angry, and there's more than one sustainable way to approach other human beings. And for me to see that, it's just bizarre. I didn't know you had lots of sisters, mate. I've never had a sister, so I don't really know what it's like. Which probably, a bit of a slow development in regard to understanding women. Let's say.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely does help, because you have first-hand experience of how not to piss a woman off. And the triggers as well. Like, not to say that every woman is the same, but there's similarities in a way. But like, going back to what you just said regarding Lucien's post and the response from men, it just goes to show that it's them. They haven't done the work on themselves, so you just gotta let them be. I'm not saying like I'm condoning this, because by all means, but it's just like, do you give attention to people like that are like they're trying to get a reaction from you. They thrive off it. Like it's like they get a buzz out of being a certain way to a woman. I mean, if somebody said that to my sister, oof. Yeah. But giving men these type of men oxygen, only kind of empowers them more. But at the same time, it's like, what do you do from a woman's standpoint? It's like, okay, what do we do about this? Because we can say this, we can post this, we can try and rally together and get men on our side, but then they're still continue. I don't know what the answer is. I genuinely don't know what to suggest to even do it again, because I don't know how a woman completely feels about that.
Yeah.
From a perspective, when I hear that, automatically I'm like, well, he needs like a bit of a roughing up. That's from my perspective, like, but that's not the solution. Long term, how do you get past that? I don't know. I can only like continue to shout and scream as parents, as educators, as teachers. We need to continue like this good fight. Do not stop. Like getting kids to understand the right from wrong from an early age, so they are programmed differently.
That's a good word.
When we are young, naturally, our natural human basic way of operating is affection and love. Everything else is taught or
Yeah.
learned behavior. So where's that narrative, where does it shift? So I'm not saying that like parents are not doing their job. Of course, I'm sure there are loads out there, because I know some absolutely beautiful kids, and I'm like, man, you have done well with this child. Like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Like, this is gonna be an extraordinary human being, and they are going to be somebody that's going to be impactful. I think more and more kids need to be educated that way, or grown up that way, in order for us to see a change. I mean, there are certain adults now, let's be completely honest, there's no hope for them. It's just like, you gotta let them be, either give them a rope and they pull themselves up, or they hang themselves. It's just like one of the two.
Yeah.
Some that just don't, they choose to be a certain way, they choose to be ignorant, and that's their choice. um and if it's something that's based on their own personal choice, you got to let them be. Like, respectfully love them from afar. Even if it's a family member, love them from afar. And that's just me as a person as well. If family members, if they're a certain way and they don't want to change, love them from afar.
Mm.
Like, it's you're choosing to be this way now, and I cannot like take on that energy for my personal mental well-being. I want to go this way, you want to go that way. That's okay. Like, that's, you do you, and I'm going to go this way. But we just got to continue the good fight with the next generation, and help them become better human beings. It's going to be hard, because social media is making it very, very difficult. But
Yeah.
when you continue doing that work, and you don't like take your foot off the brakes or the gas or whatever, um, continue on, the results is going to be like absolutely amazing and worth it. And I think um it's the support. Us, as we're in a position where we can support parents, we can support other educators as well, to encourage them, like, keep going. Like, that's why, like, when I sent you that post, that message in your DM, because I see what you're doing. I recognize your work, and I know the impact it will have, like, with so many like kids and students coming from um background that I have. If I had somebody like you when I was young, teaching us like the work that you're bringing to light now, I think there'll be so many um different. There's all the differences that I kind of like encountered. would not be there because I've been helped along the way. My progress started at a later stage of my life. It's not to say that, you know, it's a bad thing, but do I wish my progress started earlier? Absolutely. But then it doesn't need to start at a later stage when you have people like you. I think there needs to be more, you know, doing the work that you're doing in order to create a better generation of people, not children, create a generation of people. And that's what we're lacking at the moment. That's just my opinion anyway. But.
My mate, I completely could not hold that opinion in much higher esteem. You've just given me so much credit, and I appreciate you, man. That's it. People like you saying those things to me gives me a lot more encouragement and motivation to carry on. Not that I need it, but it kind of gives me like an ignition, like more to drive on, you know, fast and furious when they press that little button, it makes it go faster. That's you saying that to me. And it just makes me think, yeah, right, you know, I need to do more. I need to play big. I need to contact these people. I need to speak to these people. I need to do more. And I love the fact that you said about the younger generation as well. And I love the fact you were talking about, parents too. Parents need education about what's going on because there hasn't been anything like that in school. So second to last question, dude. I'm glad you said it about younger generations, buddy, because I know you've got a dash somewhere. But if you could change the education system so you were to add three brand new lessons, what do you think would help the world? Not necessarily the kids, maybe, but the world. What would you add in?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think that's a tough. I think
I'll have to come back to you.
Self-development is definitely something that I feel would be necessary.
Yeah.
Whether it be in school, colleges, universities, in fact, as well. Like, you know, just things that will help kids improve themselves and be able to accept and love themselves. You know, because essentially a lot of people don't love themselves. I think it's been kind of like projecting the way that it's conceited. Oh, that's arrogant. You say you love yourself. Well,
mate,
why shouldn't I love myself? Why shouldn't I put myself first? Why is it selfish to put myself first? Because if I don't put myself first, how can I give my best version to other people? So one of my best mates, like my close friend, he has this saying, and I've adopted that. It's me first, but not me only.
I like that.
You know, and goes back to the aeroplane analogy. Putting a mask on yourself first before you can put it on your child or any other kid that you're with. You know, you've got to be able to help yourself in order to help others. Yeah. So I never used to understand that. I was like, why would you put like your mom on yourself first when your kid's there? Why wouldn't you go for your kid first? I never understood it for years until that moment when I went through myself. I'm like, okay, I get it. I used to completely disagree and detest. Well, that don't make sense. Why would you? Honestly, I was going off, and I was like, "Dude, you're an absolute melon. How could you not? How could you not even get that? Absolute. So, okay, I'll take that L. I'll definitely take that L. That wasn't my finest moment in life, but yeah, I got there.
Well, you know, I'm
yeah.
sharing that on Clubhouse tomorrow, mate. I'm stitching you up.
Yeah, that was I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm just the only one that's probably admitting it live right now. So yeah. But hey, I'm cool with it.
Mate, I like that a lot. It's funny though, isn't it? You know, these analogies, and they only drop, like we can hear them, but the penny only drops when we're ready to hear it, and that can have a lot more of a positive effect on what it is. So dude, last one. If you got a a statement, a sentence that you could use, if you could install in every kid's head, what would that sentence be to change their world, if you've got one?
For every kid, it's okay to be you.
Mate, love it.
It's okay to be you.
Love that.
In a world full of a lot of people wearing masks, take
Mate.
yours off.
Dude, and I don't know if you caught your face when you delivered that, but that was powerful.
I
That
don't
was
know.
serious. Mate, it was. I like looking at people's faces when they deliver that sentence, and you were like proper, like you were in the zone, and that was awesome. Mate, I really appreciate your time, brother. Thank you so much for having me. Mate, I'd love to have a chat with you anyway. After this,
Yeah.
and just you and me, just sometime. That'd be really cool. Because I've just got, you know, such an admiration for you, mate. The way that you speak, the way that you talk, the way you hold space, it's just palpable, and it's precious, and it's awesome. So,
I appreciate you, man. But yeah, I'll send you my number, and we'll just we'll chat, man. We'll definitely
yes,
chat.
I got Christian's number. Yeah, boy. All right, I just want to thank everyone else for listening today. Thank you for holding this space with us. We appreciate all the comments that we've gone through, and I know Christian appreciates you as well. And if there's any questions or comments, please feel free to comment in the chat. And yeah, reach out to us. If Christian, if people want to find you or follow you, should they just follow you on Instagram? Is that okay?
Yeah, my Instagram is at Big Chris Flawless. I am on LinkedIn now, finding it's Christian Olozi. So yeah, I will be a bit more active on there as well. Just getting a big kick up the. Oh, you need to. I'm like, all right, okay, all right, I get it. I'm there. So, yeah,
Legend. Yeah. So LinkedIn and Instagram.
Yeah, I'm there as well.
Chris Flawless. Love it. Cheers, brother. Mate, thank you for that. I'll probably hear your voice tomorrow morning, hopefully. But if not, I'll chat to you on the phone.
Yes, bro. All right, much love. Have a good one.
Take care, dude. See you later, brother. See you. Thanks, everybody.